I'm Morgan. I'm a vegan life and wellness coach. And if you're joining in, don't run at the word vegan. I swear. It's not going to be that scary. So I wanted to talk today about how it's not meant to be hard, right? Like losing weight, maintaining your weight, being healthy. It's not meant to be that way. It should come easily to us, right? Like if we're eating what we're meant to eat, then it should be like a natural process, right? Like sure, we eat things we shouldn't, right? You shouldn't have your donuts, you shouldn't do this, whatever, right? Like that's okay. Indulge, have a little bit of fun. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about all these like fad diets we're seeing, like keto is the biggest one, right? So many people are struggling on keto with eating oil and like MCT oil. Like who wants to eat oil? It's just really weird. A lot of fat. I can't imagine trying to eat like the fattiest pieces of meat and trying to keep that in there for health, right? It's so backwards. And as soon as you come off of it, everything falls apart. And when you're on it, you struggle, you can't eat a lot of things that you want to eat. And like the portions aren't great. Like it's just not a good time. I've seen friends do it. I've seen so many people online do it. And, they see these temporary results and that's it. It's all temporary, and it's so sad to see people like stuck in this like diet cycle. We're not meant to do this, right? So I wanted to talk to you about why plant-based eating can be such a solution. That's why I came to veganism. I was trying to lose weight. I kept trying all these diets, no carbs. We didn't have keto then, but there's so many no carb diets, cleanses. I kept doing them. And, if I got temporary results, that's it. They were temporary, right? I just couldn't make it right. And I didn't get it, right? I was eating all these things that I was supposed to be eating. I was eating really healthy, but I didn't feel good. And I think that's the thing that happens so much with people, right? Like they're eating how they're supposed to be eating, what we're told we're supposed to do, and we don't feel good. Why is that? Think of the foods that naturally excite you, or maybe like would for a kid, right? Kids love like oranges and watermelon and fruit, and I'm not about to tell you have to be a fruitarian. Please don't do that. But that's things that naturally excite us. Like my son, he's a little guy, he's 2. He loves things like cucumbers and peppers, right? Like those are things that when we smell them, they're fresh and we like them, and we can eat them in abundance and not gain weight and not have to track calories and not have to worry about it all. So plant-based eating is such a freeing thing, right? People get stuck on, they're taking things out. And it's not about removing, right? When you remove something, you need to add something back in. You need to add in beans, you need to add in grains, whatever it is, you need to add it back in. But it's not about restriction. It's not about limitation. It's really freeing to give up that old idea of what a plate is supposed to look like, right? Think of your steak and your like potatoes, and you have those disgusting soggy vegetables. So many people think of veganism as just the soggy veg. No, that's not what we're eating. Don't do that. Don't just take out foods and not add back in, right? It's not meant to be that way. You can adopt so many different like meals from different cultures, right? Like think like hot pot and curry and like sushi rolls. Like there's so many things that you can pull in and eat on a vegan lifestyle and not have to worry, like I said, about counting your calories, right? Unless that's on the opposite end, you're under eating, which is so common when people first come to veganism, is they under eat. Don't do that. Track what you're eating for a couple days. Make sure you're eating enough. And what I'm talking about here is like a whole foods plant-based diet. So there's so many different ways to be vegan, and none of them are wrong. But if you're looking for like health and weight, that's what you want to go to. Is the grains, starches, fruits, legumes, a little bit of nuts and seeds. You don't need a lot. And you base your meals around that, and they're so much more colorful, and they're fun, and they're flavorful. And as long as you're balancing your plate right, you don't have to count the calories. You don't have to track. You don't have to feel guilty because, you had some pasta, and you're not going to just balloon and gain weight because you had some carbs, right? Like that's the craziest thing. I can't imagine just not having carbs. I love carbs. I know now this is probably the point where you're thinking, I can't afford that. You can. 100% you can. There's this big misconception that veganism is more expensive, and it's not. I know for us and our family and so many families, once they take out meat and dairy, which is the most expensive part of the shop, it's much more affordable. Like, think about it. You can feed your family on a $10 pack of chicken breast, or you can buy a $1 can of beans. What's more expensive, right? It depends on what you're swapping it out with. If you eat a lot of like the processed alternatives, it's going to be more expensive, and you should still enjoy those. You should still have fun with them, but those are not what's optimal for your health, your weight, or your budget. If you want more budgeting tips, I do have another video on budgeting, as well as a blog post, and all that's, I'll link it in the description below. It really does not have to be hard. I promise you, it is not expensive. It's not about restriction. It's not about being hungry. You don't have to calorie count. Forget all that stuff. Just eat real food and feel good. It's not about willpower or buckling down. It shouldn't be hard. If it's hard, you're not doing it right. And you should get more support. And there's so many different ways that you can get support, right? You can look online for meal plans, you can join groups. There's so much out there. I have a group for women. If that's something that interests you, I'll leave that link in the description as well. It's called Women Going Vegan, and it's for women who are curious about veganism, those that are into the lifestyle, or if you're already vegan and you just want to be part of a community. And there I go live every week, and we'll talk about a topic, and we'll work through what's going on with you, right? Like, what kind of support do you need to make that switch? It really isn't meant to be hard. Once you get over the initial hump, right, like figuring out what to do and how, it should start to come and flow really easily, and you should start to feel good, and you should start to look good, and just not worry. If you have questions, if anything's coming up for you, from this video, leave a comment. I'm happy to come back and point you in the right direction. So I hope this was so helpful. Please do not buy into the idea that, looking good and feeling good and eating well has to be hard and has to be difficult. It's not meant to be. Thanks for listening. Bye.